Season fallout. The KU football 2025 season has come and gone. We're here to discuss it, discuss JD's legacy, and what the future might hold for one head coach, Lance Leipold.
It was good, y'all. It's your boy JD6 here with my man. Shout out to KC Sports Authority. Make sure y'all go check that podcast out, man.
You heard the man.
What's up, everybody? Welcome in to a live edition of the KC Sports Authority podcast here on YouTube, where you can like and subscribe to the podcast, to the channel. We'd appreciate that. Hit that thumbs up button below if you're watching here on YouTube. Of course, that live chat section is open all night. Also, Twitter and Facebook, you can catch us live right now as well, where you can chime in. Spotify, listen on the go if you would prefer that and not look at our faces. That's okay. As long as you are catching the pod, that's all we care about. Fellas, welcome back in. It's been a couple weeks. Last week was a crazy busy week. Since the last time we talked, we've had not one, but two KU football losses to sum up the season, the 5-7 season that it is. We also had a trip to Vegas where the KU men's basketball program looked quite impressive in the first ever player eras tournament. Especially without one 5-star recruit, Darren Peterson, who has been MIA for what feels like forever. So definitely want to talk a little bit of that as they have a big-time matchup against number 5 UConn in the Fog tomorrow night, Tuesday night. So we'll preview a little bit of that, talk about how the team looks without Darren Peterson, the thoughts on him potentially playing tomorrow night, as that has been floating out there. So we'll look to see. And then, of course, those of you that are expecting Wednesday night episodes, we will still have a Wednesday night episode again this week as planned as of right now, unless something else changes. But that one will be primarily 100% Kansas basketball. But tonight we do want to talk some of football first, and we will get into basketball. For those of you, I know Bob already in the comments saying, please, not much on football. I'm so over it. I'm over it as well. Yeah. We got to get some things off our chest and throw some questions out there that we need answers to, and then for sure we'll dive into basketball. So let's start off with football. Again, KU loses the final 2 games of the season as everyone predicted and expected, despite the fact they showed a lot of fight this last Friday against top 15 in college football playoff hopeful Utah in a close game where they still end up losing, as we'll get into. And of course, you had the Iowa State just absolute beatdown a couple weeks ago that Austin decided to waste his money on and go check out. So we'll get your thoughts on that. And then we got to talk a little bit about Jalon Daniels and his legacy, how his time at Kansas ends. I've got some stats I want to talk about there. Just some final thoughts as we kind of put this season to bed, as well as kind of set up where football goes from here under one Lance Leipold and all of the things the fan base would like to see happen this offseason. So we won't spend too much time on the game itself, but Austin, let's start with your trip to Ames. Thoughts on that, and then spiral us into the disappointing 5-7 season.
I of course went to Ames a couple weeks ago, and this is not the first time I had been to Ames. I went back last year for the basketball game back in January. Watched KU get blown out by Iowa State. That was a lot of fun, and I watched the football team do the exact same thing, get blown out by Iowa State. And I knew coming in that Iowa State, had a chance to win that game. I knew it was on their senior day and everything, so the momentum was on their side already. And they also came out with their special Whirlybird helmets, the logo that they had back in the 2000s. And the first thought that came to mind, I was just like, there's no way they lose with those helmets on. There's just no way. And Iowa State, just based on like lore games, I guess if you want to put it that way, they don't lose in those types of games. And but I expected a better showing from KU, and I didn't see any fight from them at all. I mean, in the first half we were down 17-0, and I just knew right from that point on that the season was probably going to come to an end after this game. But yeah, that was one of the worst football games I had ever watched in person, and I regret spending my money on tickets and going to that game, but it was definitely worth going at the end of the day. But I watched a football team, essentially give up on the season that day, and I was just like, yeah, if we come out here looking like that, then we're not going to beat Utah. But I was definitely surprised to see some fight from the guys on Friday. But yeah, I know we'll get into the Utah game. But Ames was cool. Wasn't really impressed with Jack Trice Stadium. I've already talked about that on my Twitter, but it was a fun experience though. Some Iowa State fans were nice to me. Some of them weren't. Yeah, when Austin wearing glasses. I've actually been wearing glasses for a while. I just don't wear them very often, Bob. So
I do not wear glasses, thankfully. I don't look forward to the day that might potentially happen, but eat your carrots.
Just wait.
Yeah.
Just wait.
Well, JB, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
We were all texting each other back and forth Friday, and there were parts of the first half were like, okay, wow, all right, we might actually do something here. He's looking good. And then there's that, oh my gosh, did you see that play that just happened, which to me kind of felt like it summed up the whole season. So if you could, maybe in your own words, is there a word or two, or if you could summarize the feeling of this season for us from your perspective, what would that look like or sound like?
It's kind of a difficult question to answer because if you go back, the receipts are there. If you go back to our old episodes, I predicted at the beginning of the season that we would have a 6-6 record, mostly predicated on K-State being the missing win. I don't remember the exact arrangement of wins and losses, but I actually think I was pretty close.
You were close.
Like the exact wins and the exact losses. So I don't know, broken clock, right twice a day. I
think you had us losing to West Virginia, losing to Mizzou, Texas Tech,
yep,
Iowa State,
Utah.
I don't remember who the 6th team would have been.
I think like the last 3 games, I think I had us losing all 3 of those. But yeah, I mean, yeah. Hey, either I'm just lucky or I actually know ball. You guys can be the deciding factor on that.
Speaking of ball throwers out here, just quick side note: Joanne Morton, which NBA team is your favorite? Not to just put a pause into the show, but
sure.
It's a great question because we don't get to talk a lot of NBA. I bounce around. I've been a Miami Heat fan for a long time since Dwayne Wade's rookie season. I like to watch Philly every now and then, not as much for Joel Embiid now, but it was always because of him. Now I like watching Tyrese Maxey, but I'd say my favorite team right now is either the Thunder because they're the closest team to us, or I've always been a Milwaukee Bucks fan. I love watching Giannis and them play. So, fellas, favorite NBA team?
Great question. That's good. To piggyback on that, my wife is from Wisconsin, so I also get some enjoyment out of watching the Bucks. My favorite team is the Bulls because I'm from Chicago, and although the team I probably follow the closest is Lakers, because say what you want, I'm a LeBron stan. I love me some LeBron James. So, just saying.
They are fun to watch with Luka. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I mean, give it.
They are must-watch basketball,
dude.
And Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves he's on a tear to start the year.
Austin?
Mine's the Timberwolves. I've been a Timberwolves fan for the past few years now. I'm a big Anthony Edwards fan. I went to my first Timberwolves game 3 years ago, and I happened to watch them play the Bulls where they put up 150 points on them, and I think they won by like 24 or whatever. And it was like the most points that the Timberwolves had scored in quite some time in one regular season game, so that was pretty cool. And then I got to watch them play the Mavericks almost back-to-back days, but they were they played twice in 3 days. The first game, Luka and Jason Kidd got ejected in the third quarter. And then the next game, Luka comes back and drops 40 on the Timberwolves, and they win by like 4 or whatever. So, but from that point on, I became a Timberwolves fan, and they've been close to the NBA Finals. But hopefully they'll get there at some point. They haven't won an NBA championship ever. So, and much like most of their Minnesota sports teams,
they need another superstar to pair with Ant-Man.
Yeah, I hope they don't trade him either. I've been seeing stuff like, they might trade Anthony Edwards. Like, that'd be really dumb. He's like the face of your franchise. So, and he could be the next face of the NBA. I'm not saying he is. I'm not saying that he's going to be. I'm just saying there's potential.
He does look exactly like Michael Jordan. You've seen it.
Dude,
We've all
dude,
seen it side by
him and
side.
Jimmy Butler
Yeah.
are his kids.
It's
They
the
look
scariest
as close
thing.
to him as
Literally.
possible.
And I think his play
It's
style is a
highlight.
lot like Michael Jordan too. I'm not saying he's the next MJ. I'm not at all. I'm just saying he,
Okay.
looks similar.
Yeah.
So
Well, hey,
back to football.
Yeah, jumping back to football. Honestly, gosh, I don't remember exactly where I was at.
So you predicted the near 6-6 record because
Yeah,
you were not as optimistic about this year because of the way last season went. And hey, you were right because back-to-back seasons. These last 2 years of KU football almost rivals the last 2 seasons of KU basketball as far as expectations and disappointment.
I think part of it with that 6-6 prediction was we were looking at, in a lot of ways, a whole new roster from what we were so used to the previous year. We had things not really turn out the way we wanted last year as well, but the faces that turned around our program for the better were starting to trickle out. You had receivers start to trickle out via graduation. I miss Luke Grimm. I miss the connection that Luke Grimm had with JD. I miss Quentin Skinner. He was the big play guy that we all loved and we could all count on for any kind of late game scenario. And when you don't have Luke Grimm, who's so consistent, when you don't have the big play factor in Quentin Skinner, the guy that you can throw a Hail Mary to anytime you want, I was really, really nervous about the efficiency of our offense. And I guess that ended up showing. I guess that ended up playing out on the season. And it's frustrating because I feel like despite all that, we had our chances to win some of those games and we just couldn't. We talked on this pod a little bit about Lance and some of his coaching decisions, some of the ways that he has handled the final 2 minutes of a game. I don't know what his.
I will say this: I don't think the Utah game. I don't think Lance gets to share as much of the blame as we would give him in some of these other losses. Like that was, and we'll talk about Jalon, but that was Jalon's worst game of his career and the last game of his career from a quarterback perspective. He had nice moments, but as a pure quarterback standpoint, that was the worst game I've seen from a Kansas quarterback in several years, and it comes in the final game of the year in a game that you had control of for a chunk of it,
the whole time,
and a game that you probably should have been up 2 scores at halftime. So it's hard to put any blame on Leipold's coaching decisions in this one. I mean, there are always moments for sure, but yeah, step back, bigger picture. Yeah, you're still spot on with Leipold has still left the fan base with more questions than answers about where about where this program's going.
I think the original question was what words would you summarize the season on, and it's disappointment and frustration for me. I think we had some lofty expectations, some more than others. I was trying to be a little bit more realistic with my 6-6 prediction, but I think over the last so many years, throughout Lance being our head coach, we've kind of grown accustomed to, as fans, being bowl eligible, which sounds a little weird because really it was 2 of those years. But I mean, he hasn't been here that long. What was it like? It's 4.5 years that he's been here.
This is his 5th year.
Like 4th full year though, or 5th full year.
4th full year. Yeah,
I think it's his 4th full year. So, you look back at it. If you look at only full years, 2 bowls, 2 not bowls.
Get screwed, John.
5 wins. 5 wins is still like on the cusp of bowl eligibility.
Yeah, right. Two seasons with bowl games, 3 seasons without bowl games, right?
Yeah, but that first season of his he came in mid-season when it was already
a
disaster.
He missed the recruiting cycle. Yeah, because he was named head coach in mid spring, late spring.
If I'm right, wasn't that the season where we beat Texas in that like triple overtime game or whatever it was?
The spark that lit the fire that then was rained on for 3 seasons and turned into embers and coals, and now it's a pile of dead.
Yeah. No, we'll look back. We'll look back on that moment. I'm probably with other questions in this episode, but
StreamYard is blocking
ginger ale,
out.
Alex.
Ginger ale, yeah.
Yeah, it's not alcohol, unfortunately.
Wait, really?
Because that's how I feel about the football season. You know,
They're
It's
not
you
even
guys
worthy
see
of a
my-
drink.
did you guys see my video of Jalen's second interception and my live reaction to that?
no.
I haven't yet.
Y'all need to look it up and
I'll have to
find
go
it.
back.
It's on my Twitter. I mean, like, I had no words. It was literally one of the worst interceptions I've seen.
I mean, the first one you could see that he threw it to the inside, thinking
Yeah,
the receiver was going to
right.
cut in. And it should have been to the outside shoulder. But the second one, well, the pick six. I mean,
You guys saw my reaction
watched
that I
my
texted
life.
you.
I watched my life flash before my eyes watching that pick six. I was like,
the pick
my
six. I
God.
mean, the receiver wasn't even looking. Jalen wasn't
No.
even looking at the receiver. Of course, the one where he throws in the deep of the end zone when he had somebody was wide open 10 yards in front of him to the out. He had a wide open pass. It still probably would have gotten short of the goal line, but you'd take that over the pick. Yeah, it was decision making, and I don't want to transition us this way now, but we'll go ahead and just do it. But like Jalon Daniels' legacy,
Yeah,
up and down career, a guy that had all the potential in the world. When we look back 20 years from now, everyone I think unanimously will agree that Jalon was one of the most talented quarterbacks with the highest potential in KU football history.
yeah.
But this last week, everyone's saying, my gosh, did we not lift up Jason Bean high enough in his decision-making in his
Also, yes.
couple of years here? Because I was going through Jalon Daniels' box scores of over his career. And guys, the flashes of excitement that we all saw, when you look at his career holistically, this is not me taking away from him as a player. But holistically, those flashes were so long ago now that
Yes.
it really makes me wonder, gosh, this is going to send me into another spiral of how much that was his pure talent and ability, or how much of it was Andy Kotelnicki unlocking the keys to Jalon Daniels' success. Because without Andy Kotelnicki, Jalon has looked really bad at quarterback. And yes, injuries, I know Bob said it, he was injury prone, very, very injury prone. He's a, 6th-year senior for a reason. Because of the injuries, medical redshirt, the COVID year, all that. And he's only had 2 seasons where he's played the full seasons, this year and last year. And they were not great years. He had his 2 worst years throwing completion percentage, 62% this year, 57% last year. Those were, his freshman season, he didn't have a good completion percentage, but the O-line he was running behind, he didn't have time for anything. Throws 12 interceptions last year on the 14 picks, throws 7 interceptions this year, and albeit 3 of those were in the final game. Yards per attempt, this hit 7.9 this year. His best was 9.4, so a full almost 2 yards worse at yards per attempt. Yards per game, not bad. Actually, his efficiency rating wasn't terrible, but like just on paper and the visual, wasn't a good season. And I feel, Austin, I know you put it in one of your Facebook or Twitter posts the other day. You feel for Jalon, because to go out like that, that's going to leave such a sour taste in so many fans' mouths about the career of Jalon Daniels, which should be viewed as I wouldn't say all-time great anymore, but a guy that really set the tone and was a massive part of the coming out of the dump that was KU football for the last decade. And he's a big reason that we're semi-relevant. But to go out that way, to end your season the way it did after looking good the first half of the season, like I was trying to think of if I could give a metaphor to describe this season, and I haven't come up with a great one, but this is what's on my mind right now, is like that little kid who's excited to go light one of his first fireworks, and he's getting it all set up. Dad's helping him. It's all set up, ready to go. He goes to light it, and it's a rocket, and it starts to shoot up, and it just right into the ground, barely makes it off the ground. Kids sitting there, disappointment. That, or it's just a dud, but then it goes off later when you're not paying attention. But I don't know. Like this team, they had the potential, ends in disappointment. Very frustrating loss once again, where you shot yourself in the foot against a team who is better than you And like I said, the defense looked good for a lot of that game. They held Dampier in check. Outside of their running back, they really didn't let their offense do anything for most of the game. No credit whatsoever am I going to give that to DK McDonald just because the terrible defensive coordinator should get fired. But defense did what they needed to, and the offense just kept shooting themselves in the foot, despite the fact that we were running all over the field. And the run game coordination was fantastic. But here we are, 5-7. Jalon Daniels wrapping up one of the most frustrating careers of what could have been. I guess that's a good way to put it. What could have been with him in the right circumstances. And has fans leaving the season wondering what the future looks like. The confidence level that Leipold and company can get the job done, not very high at all. People are, I mean, I'll say this, he's not getting fired. He's got too much money on his contract. We gave him a contract extension last season. He's owed, excuse me, he's owed like $30 million. So his buyout, it's not happening unless somebody donor wants to pay for it. And even then, who are you going to bring in that's a realistic option that you're going to pay $30 million to? So that's not happening. You could fire Zabrowski if you're not happy with the offensive coordinator. I wasn't disappointed with Zabrowski necessarily. I wasn't like super inspired by the season as a whole with him. But again, we talked about another podcast. I wonder how much of that is his game plan versus what Lance lets him call during the game, like the flow of the game management. I don't know. But I wouldn't be opposed to starting fresh at both coordinator positions. But we've also now seen the only hires Leipold has done at coordinators have failed. Jeff Grimes, despite that some aspects of the offense were decent last year, was one of the worst seasons of all time. And he followed that up with a dud at Wisconsin. And then this year you get the fresh voice, I guess, in the play calling with a guy who's been around Jalon. And early on, it looked decent. But the mid-game adjustments, the figuring out the O-line play to get your run game going just was terrible. And then, of course, DK McDonald, I mean, it all went downhill that after that moment on the West Virginia game on the sideline that he tries to, chest bump West Virginia player to tell him what's up. And then after that, KU's defense just fell apart for the rest of the year. So not much confidence that we can get the job done there, but we've got to see some sweeping changes. Jalen's going to be gone. The up in the air of who's going to be at quarterback, Cole Ballard, Zeke Marshall, David McComb. Who leaves? Do any of those guys leave? Because if it were me and I'm David McComb and I'm Zeke Marshall, what about Kansas says I should stick around? I hate saying that, but
there's something I want to echo real quick, and this is from Ryan Reinhardt. He said this, I believe it was like towards the end of the Utah game, but he put this perfectly. He said, in 10 plus years, Jalon's legacy will be remembered as an awesome Jayhawk that helped change the program. True. And he deserves that, of course. He also said, but in the short term, he will be remembered as a guy that couldn't win a big game and was terrified of the moment. Yeah, I couldn't have put that any better. And I think Ryan hit the nail in the coffin there. But when you look at, Jalon's legacy and everything, you look back on some of the wins that he's had, while playing quarterback for us. Had that Texas win in 2021, and then in 2022,
West Virginia on the road sparked the season.
Yeah, and then you have the Iowa State game was a defensive game. The offense didn't really play that well, but it was a really good defense that they were going up against. But it was a credit to Iowa State's kicker for missing 3 field goals. I mean, he played a big part in bringing Kansas football back and putting it on the map. There's no doubt about it. But yeah, like Ryan said, he'll be remembered as somebody who just couldn't get it done in those key moments. And unfortunately for Jalon, that Kansas State game really riled him up, and I don't think he was the same after that. And as far as the season's concerned, I don't think the team was the same after the Texas Tech game. Now, you can argue that the Cincinnati game was probably what started everything, or the Mizzou game. But with the whole thing, with the knife gate situation and Lance cussing out Joey, which I really didn't appreciate, I think that's what really started the downward, spiral of the season. And then, you fast forward 2 weeks later to the K-State game. KU just comes out and looks the exact same that they did against Texas Tech.
Prepared.
Very uninspiring, and it was just very disappointing. And then, like, the Oklahoma State game didn't really move me that much. I mean, Oklahoma State was one of the worst football teams in the country, and our defense let up 20.
We still didn't blow them out.
Yeah, we didn't blow them out, and we didn't even Oklahoma State covered the spread. I mean, that's just how. I don't want to say it was a bad win, but I mean, at the same time, it
wasn't a good win.
Way better than that.
Yeah.
And then the final 3 games, it was just like I watched a team basically give up on the season and not make any sort of adjustments whatsoever. Now, I will say for the Utah game, the defense looked great at times.
Yeah, but both sides of the ball started the game that you could tell they put some work in last week. But it shouldn't have taken the last game of the season to see that.
There was one play during the Utah game that really ticked me off, and it was that long touchdown throw. It was the first one that Utah threw. And I remember seeing it. The defense, they had one high safety on the right side of the field, and I knew that there was a possibility they were going to go over the top. And what do you know? They went over the top on that play, and the defensive play calling just wasn't great. I don't like the scheme that DK ran all season long, and I don't think the players were.
Yeah, they played guys again outside of Bengali Kamara and Trey Lathan.
Yeah,
like D-line, nothing this year. The safeties playing out of position. Mason Ellis did not play enough. I know he was banged up throughout the year, but they had guys playing in positions that they weren't really excelling at. Jalen Todd was moving all over the field because he is capable, but you were taking him out of what he does best to fill a hole somewhere else. So clearly the defense. Now, I think I could argue that with the defense, as much as you can say it's coaching and got to get them prepared, you got to have the talent, of course. And we knew that the cornerback and safeties room was going to take a hit with all the losses they had from this last season of guys moving on. So really outside of Bengali Kamara, there really wasn't a bright spot to this defense. So fans still, they want to see that the guys you have employed here are going to make successful game plans. And I think you've got guys that have been in positions that just don't have a proven track record of success at the college football Division I level. DK McDonald, great. He was coaching with the Eagles a couple years ago and their incredible secondary. Well, it's easy. I'm saying this as a non-coach, of course. It's easy to have success coaching when you've got the best players on your team. Philadelphia's defense 2 years ago was really, really good. They had a fantastic secondary. So how much of it is coaching versus talent? So there's that conversation that KU's talent level just wasn't there this year, especially O-line, D-line clearly fell backwards. And again, we said it multiple times on this podcast, losing offensive line coach Scott Fuchs to Tennessee this offseason was a major blow to the offensive line because Calvin Clements got worse as the season progressed. He had moments, but for a guy at his size with a little bit of experience, you were hoping he would take the next step. Bryce Foster, who was supposed to be a preseason All-American kind of guy, you didn't really hear much about him throughout the year. Wasn't doing anything great. That doesn't mean he's not going to be successful here on after KU, but offensive line play was bad. Defensive line play outside of Leroy Harris, you really got nothing from anybody else pass rush for most of the year. And again, Bengali Kamara was the only guy doing anything. So you sum all that up, you're going into an offseason that is huge, has huge implications for the program. You've got the second half of the stadium rebuild, so they're going to tear down the east side. So you've got a lot of money, and somebody put in here donor fatigue. Donor fatigue is certainly there for sure. You got to make changes and win, especially if you want anything good to come out of the next 4 or 5 years. Transfer portal, you got to hit hard. You've got a pretty decent recruiting class coming in so far. You got a lot of guys you're going to have to see if you can convince to stay, but fans are going to want some sweeping changes this offseason to feel any sort of confidence that 5-7, 6-6 isn't the peak or isn't the norm. Like we had the 9-4, and that was the outlier as of right now. The norm is 5-7, 6-6. That's not good enough. Like you said, JB, it's weird having those expectations, but once you hit success, that is now expectation. I mean, we got the way with the Royals this year. The Royals had a disappointing season because they came off of a wild card postseason run. So yeah,
I don't want to compare baseball to football, but my thing is like here's the deal, and this is where I struggle because it seems like half of KU's fan base wants Lance out of here. I'm going to say this: I'm not ready for that.
Me neither.
I want Lance to stay. This is not
And by the way, he's not going
type of
anywhere
moment.
because no one's hiring
Well,
him.
yeah.
I think he's fallen off the
Well-
coaching desire list of most schools right now because of the last 2
Honestly,
years.
thank God.
Well, yeah. I think I believe in Lance. I've seen the success, not only at other schools, but of course at our own school too. I've seen the success. I want things to get better. I want changes to be made. I'm down for new offensive and defensive coordinators. Sure, if we can do that, sure. I don't think moving on from Lance would be obviously it would be nearly impossible, but I'm saying if it was possible, I would want that. I think as fans, look, you guys have been watching KU football for a long time. I've seen 12 years of 2-win seasons, 1-win seasons, 0-win seasons. I've now seen 5 years of, or 4.5 years of Lance, and 5 wins, 6 wins, 9 wins, whatever. Like, this is good. This is way better than what I'm used to. I don't care. Obviously, I'm still frustrated with how the season ultimately ended up because I do think we could have done better. But I would gladly take a so-so program over just dog crap program year after year after year. Like, I'd rather take that. And I understand once you've tasted some success, you want it to be even more. You want even more. We're greedy as fans. We got to kind of temper expectations a little bit. Especially
Which is
as
nice
faces
because I
change.
don't think we're going to have huge expectations next year
Yeah.
because of the fact of all these guys. I mean, you're graduating 33 seniors. Half of your active roster is essentially graduating out. You're losing a lot of that. Excuse me, a lot of that core.
The
This
entire
is-
roster that changed our program for the better
Yeah.
so many years ago is now gone, you guys.
Well, yeah,
It's
there's not a
all new
single
names.
player left on this team that was recruited by Les Miles. So this is the
Yep.
first full off season that Lance will have where it's strictly 100% all of his guys coming in, moving on, whatever. And it's his first time changing quarterback. I mean, I know Jason Bean played, and when Jason Bean got here, he was the projected starter, by the way, going back to that because Jalon struggled as a freshman, as we all knew. So it's a big offseason for that, but I think that'll also help the fan base. Is I don't think we're going to have high I mean, after these last 2 years, the same thing with KU basketball. Take Darren Peterson aside. Because of the last 2 seasons, I don't think a majority of fans came in this year with true, legitimate, traditional Kansas basketball expectations. I think it was, man, we're just excited to watch Darren Peterson play and hopefully get back to fun basketball. That's kind of a quick overview of that, but I do think the expectations will be tempered in the sense of, hey, we want to see what we have in our quarterback. Who's our quarterback first? Who are the guys? Who are you going to bring in from the portal? Who are the guys that are going to get playing time next year? There's a very good, I'm going to be honest, there's a very good chance next year we go 4-8. But I think the fan base, as disappointed as we would be with 4-8, I think we would be okay with that in the sense of we know the program's essentially doing a restart this offseason. At least that's how I personally look at it.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you asked those up on campus in the stadium on the administration, they probably wouldn't say that we're going to do a full rebuild. But essentially, you had a 4-year window with Lance with that core,
Feels
and
like it, yeah.
you got halfway there. In 2 of those seasons, you did good. You didn't end the season great. You wasted last year with one of the most talented rosters on paper in KU football history, of at least recent history. You wasted the last season of your all-time great running back, Devin Neal. The breadth of offensive weapons you had by bringing in one of the worst offensive coordinators in the history of college football that completely broke and ruined JD. And then you followed up this year with a team that started off, what did we say? They started off 4-2?
Yeah.
And then finished 5-7.
Yeah.
I brought this up back in
I
October.
thought you're 2-4, 4-2.
Said it. I said that, last year we started off 1-5, finished 4-2 in the final 6 games or whatever. And we started off 4-2 this year. And I was like, oh, there is a real good chance that KU flips the script from last year. I mean,
Yep.
and like
did.
he was kind of talking about earlier, it was going to come down to that K-State game. And once KU lost that K-State game, I was like, oh, it's going to happen.
Yep. That was the
So
domino that pushed it down. So
one last question before we transition into basketball. Bob, I know you're eagerly waiting.
and
for
we'll
basketball
continue
content.
to talk some football over the offseason because there's still a lot of questions. We got to dive into roster construction, all sorts of
Yeah.
things. So we'll talk more football still.
Yeah. But as for tonight, one last question before we transition to basketball. What do we do about our intro? Do we need a new intro? Because JD is in the intro.
That's
And
true.
do I need to edit out JD? Do we need to
No,
put
we don't
like,
edit it out. We just
No.
do we need to change it? You know what we
just need a highlight reel of clips from the podcast, 15-second to 20-second highlight reel of moments on the podcast as our intro.
Okay.
We'll put the Bill Self You're Done thing in there. How about that? That'd be great.
Keegan, do you still have that clip like loaded up that you could just be like play and then
I'm sure I have it.
I mean,
I've been thinking about this and it's been brewing for weeks and weeks and weeks, and I'm just watching us lose and lose and lose, and I'm just like, I am saying it now. Bill Self, you're done. Bill Self, I'm sorry.
That's just a portion of it. But.
Oh my god, that's so good.
No, we do need to talk about it. Oh man, I'm still coughing too. We need to talk about a new intro.
We do.
Definitely open to any of you listeners' ideas on that. This is not something we've ever done before, other than the clip we have. I like our music, so just need some video go with it. But yeah, open for suggestions for sure. Could be a highlight reel. Maybe it's just a montage clip of KU football, KU basketball, Chiefs, Royals stuff, highlights. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, that's definitely something we're gonna have to look into, because yes, it is official, JD6 is no longer a Kansas Jayhawk.
Well, I was posing that question more so along the lines of like, because we just hate him now. Like,
well, I think we're done. Again, like, you feel bad for him, but it's time for something different. Like, we need a fresh take at quarterback, something fresh. A palate cleanser. I don't know what it's going to be, who it's going to be. I don't have that prediction right now. On paper, David McComb has the highest ceiling. A part of me really thinks he's going to start the year with Cole Ballard as QB1 unless Cole transfers. And if Cole transfers, I think it's because he wants to be the starter and they say, nah, you're going to be fighting for second or third again. But I'm also, if I'm David McComb or Isaiah Marshall, do I want to be here? Is this program built? Is this coaching staff built to make me better long term? I don't know. Don't know that answer. But yeah, we'll talk more about that as we continue in football off season. But let's switch over to basketball. Don't want to dive in too much tonight on basketball because we are going to talk again Wednesday night after UConn game. But boys, we got a top 5 matchup in UConn, which I'm going to be honest, until today, it did not dawn on me that UConn's a top 5 team. I haven't paid as much attention to the start of college basketball nationally this year as I have in years past. And I think some of that's just because of how frustrating it's been the last 3 weeks not having Darren Peterson in uniform. But UConn's coming to town, top 5 team in the country. Alex Caravan having a pretty solid senior season, leading their team. Not as worried about him personally myself because of the emergence of Trey White the last 2 weeks without Darren Peterson. But thoughts on this game, thoughts on how the teams looked the last 2 weeks without Darren Peterson, thoughts on Darren Peterson potentially playing tomorrow night. You know, some people are excited about it. Others are going, hey, you're messing with the gel of this team from last week.
Oh, come on.
Because they did look pretty good without him. They looked good.
I don't
Trey
care.
White looked fantastic. But yeah, big time matchup tomorrow night. Number 5 UConn in the fog, 8 o'clock, Super Tuesday, college basketball. Would love to have Darren back for this game for sure. But yeah, just we haven't talked KU since the Duke preview, which that game went okay. As we probably is like I don't think we leave that game without Darren Peterson going that much disappointed. Like they played pretty solid, outmatched down the stretch. But the Players Era tournament, 3 wins, 3 days against pretty solid teams. Floyd looked tremendous. Bryson Tiller looked great. And then Trey White, of course, incredible. And then El Marco having the game of his career last game, which we desperately needed from him. And hopefully that sparks
out of nowhere.
Momentum.
Out of nowhere.
So I'll kick it over to you guys. Thoughts on the program last week or so and heading into tomorrow night's matchup?
Go ahead, Austin.
I mean, that Tennessee game kind of maybe start to believe a little bit that Kansas basketball's back to where they need to be now. We've got a long season ahead of us. So I got ahead of myself after that Duke game, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is going to be a great year after a really disappointing 2023 season. And then it turned into what it was come Big 12 play. So I don't want to get too ahead of myself this time around, but I was very encouraged with the way that we looked in that tournament. And for us to come out 3-0, I mean, we all expected KU to just go 2-1. I mean, all we wanted for them is to come out with a winning record. I mean, regardless of what. Can we talk about how horrible the tournament setup was? I mean, geez, dude, like
playing for third when you
confusing, and then just figuring out who we were going to play in that third game and who was going to play in the championship in the third place game. I mean, it was just a mess.
What a dumb style tournament. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean. I heard
it's a cool idea for the players to make extra money and the programs to make money for NIL for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the structure could be improved upon. I think that was spoken a lot nationally too. Like I think most people felt like, how do you decide who's playing for like
who got first?
I think instead of making it a tournament with an actual champion, like KU should walk away from that feeling like they're the champion of it. Because they won 3 games and they looked pretty good.
Whoever got first, I want a game against them. Like I was ready to tweet it out.
Who did win?
I want Gonzaga or whoever was first. But
I got to look it up because it's going to bother me. There
were
too many teams in it.
I would say we looked like the best team, at least for stretches of that tournament. We looked like the best team in the field, and it was odd because we didn't have Darren Peterson. But yeah, I think that's the beauty. I think in the eyes of most
Michigan.
Kansas fans,
Michigan won it.
Okay. We are now revitalized. We feel like we are back, right? We're back now that we've won these 3 games in 3 days without Darren Peterson, and now Darren Peterson's coming back. I'm definitely not gonna say he messes with the gel of the team. I think this was just a chance for everyone else to step up, understand what they're capable of, prove to themselves what they're capable of. And now that we have our guy back, we even if he falls short of expectations, we're Gucci. We're good. Right?
I will say my favorite moment though from last week was after that win, they do the Oklahoma City Thunder style post-game interview. And it was mentioned on a couple other podcasts last week, but it's very, very, very true. There was not one time last season I can think of that this team looked like they enjoyed each other and enjoyed playing with each other. This team already has not even close to reach their potential. And even though Darren Peterson hasn't played the last 2 weeks, like they look like a team that loves playing with each other, enjoys each other's company, and wants to have some fun. So that is going to bode well long-term for the season as well as postseason play. And they already are leaps and bounds above where this team was last year when it comes to chemistry and things like that.
We don't need another BYU-Utah situation where, if you guys remember when we went to BYU in Utah, I think there was like a fight in the locker room allegedly. I don't know what happened, but apparently that trip did not go well.
What?
AJ Store, Hunter Dickinson.
It was talked about for a little bit, but this was when we played at BYU, got absolutely demolished by
Zeke
them.
Mayo had a
lost
comment in the post. Supposedly Zeke made comments about one of the assistant coaches inadvertently or out of context about play style, and then there was something with AJ Store in the locker room and guys getting into it and disagreeing with each other, and yeah, they were 13 guys playing for themselves. They were not playing for the team across their chest.
Yeah, and I remember Bill Self talking about it after the BYU game. He was like,
we need to go have some
need
fun.
to get away from each other.
Yeah.
Like, it's just we just need to get away from each other.
I remember that.
And hearing that in the middle of February during that season, like, we were cooked.
But yeah, at Sully's got it here. And hey, speaking of Sully, I'm going to throw this up here while you're paying attention.
Sully!
Credit our guy Sully, friend of the show.
King of KU stats.
Yeah, here's a stat from Sully that he posted earlier.
He pays attention to the game notes. I love that.
Game notes, yep. Number 21, Kansas. Number 5, UConn. Tuesday night, KU's 26-6 versus top 10 foes at Allen Fieldhouse in the Bill Self era. 24-4 in Allen Fieldhouse when going against teams ranked higher than the Jayhawks. I love the Dwaggler. Those stats are crazy. So shout out Sully for that one. Big matchup. UConn can't stand Dan Hurley. He's annoying on the sidelines. Good coach, great coach, runs a fantastic program.
Yeah.
Obviously, back-to-back national championships. Hard to top that anywhere in college basketball. And that's going to put him on a final list for top 10 coach of all time, potentially, depending on how he goes the next couple of years. Oh, here you go, Sully. 12-1 versus top 5 in Allen Fieldhouse. That's the real one to pull out. I don't have a huge take on UConn. I haven't watched a ton of them. I think they are a good team. I think they run through Alex Karaban, but I am not as high on Alex Karaban as national guys are. He's having an okay season. He's averaging I got to double check this before I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's averaging 12 points, 6 rebounds. Nothing crazy. And he's going to be matching up against Trey White for a lot of this game. So Trey White has looked good defensively. I know he fouled out last game, but he has looked good defensively. Bryson Tiller has looked pretty decent. KU's got a lot of guys that they can play and switch defense on, and this team's athletic. So I think this is going to be a fun matchup. I think we have the pieces to run with a team like UConn. UConn's got a little bit more experience, but they also have a lot of new faces on that team, and this is a tough road environment for them. Tuesday night, it's going to be cold in Lawrence. You got the snow on the ground. I think the fan base is going to be turned up, as they always are anyway. But the potential, just the potential of Darren Peterson playing in this matchup is going to be enough to get the juices flowing. So this could be – I haven't even – be honest, this is how ill-prepared I am for tonight's episode. I haven't even looked at the line yet. I'll pull it up as we're talking about it. But I really do think KU's got a good shot with or without Darren Peterson. Obviously, with Darren Peterson, sky's the limit.
Is this
but the way this
right?
team's playing.
The Bob put up in the comments, UConn has never beaten Kansas. Is that right?
I don't know how many times they've played each other.
I mean, probably not many, but if that's true.
Yeah. Thank you, Derek. Our guy, Derek Ho. Says it thinks KU's plus 1.5. I think it's like that too. And I'm pretty sure if they announce Darren Peterson's playing, it'll be plus 2.5 to 3.5.
Man, we gotta
Trying
get
to
Derek.
look
4-0. KU's 4-0. According to, I trust Derek on this. Derek's on our trivia team. Anytime we do trivia, Derek is the ace in the hole for trivia.
We miss you, Derek.
4-0. Yeah, I think 4-0 is correct too. So,
yeah, that's right.
big game. What are you guys feeling? Or again, I know this has been a tough schedule to start the season already, and getting UConn at home before conference play. You're another 2 weeks out from conference play. This is a big time December matchup, and I love it.
Me too.
It almost
I was
feels
going.
like a must-win in a weird way. I don't know how to
Okay,
describe
I
this feeling.
apologize. Karaban's averaging 14 points, 5.5 rebounds, but that's because he had a last 2 game stretch where he played well. But again, that to me does not scare me.
It's odd that to me
He is
this
shooting
almost feels
50% from 3.
Oh, sheesh.
Oh,
Knowing that, he's probably going to go for 80% versus us, but because Bill Self doesn't know how to teach guys to guard the 3. But Is the Bill Self anti-Bill Self JB trickling back
I
in?
don't know if I agree
Um,
with that take.
I what?
I
Have you
think he
not watched them?
no, I think he teaches it. I think guys have to just close out better.
Maybe I'm poisoned by the last couple of years, but I feel like we've always just historically gotten torched by the 3-point line just every
Yeah, we don't
time.
close. I mean, I think this team's faster though. You haven't had years past enough teams that were fast.
Yeah, but no, I do feel like this is a must-win. It's weird to say that this early in the season, and especially for a non-con game. It feels like a must-win because you can't come off of the high of winning 3 games in 3 days and just crap the bed and lose to UConn. I think that hurts you a lot. I think it makes the Players Era tournament look like a flash in the pan, look like a okay, well now that's yesterday's news and now we suck again. Like I can absolutely see the narrative, and I don't care how good UConn is. I don't care that they're ranked number 5. I don't care if we're not favored or if we are or
Oh
whatever.
yeah, we're a 1.5 point favorite.
Like it's going to be one of those games where if we lose, I'm going to be disappointed all over again.
Yeah,
Maybe that's just me.
You can't lose a big time matchup at home like that. I don't think it's must win, but I do think. I mean, Sully put it up here earlier. The last few weeks have been huge for this team when it comes to their chances of March. Yeah, they're playing tough
Yeah,
opponents, and they've looked pretty good. They have shown. Obviously, we know the weaknesses on this team. This team's not a great 3-point shooting team yet. They have the makings of a potential of that, but Rosario has to hit threes. Jaden Dawson has to play and make threes. He's been banged up. Melvin Council has to do kind of like what DeJuan Harris did and be selective with your threes, but make those. And of course, getting Darren Peterson back will fix a ton of that. But overall, this team has looked pretty good. They've rebounded the ball pretty well, offensively and defensively. They've guarded pretty well for the most part. Like I said, Trey White, I think, is off to a fantastic start to the season. And I said this to you guys preseason. I don't remember when exactly I said this, but I know I said this at some point, that if KU was going to hit their potential this year, not only does Darren Peterson have to have a fantastic season, but I thought Trey White needed to be somewhere in between sophomore year Jalen Wilson and junior year Jalen Wilson.
Yeah.
so far he is.
So far he is. He's rebounding just about as well as Jalen was. I don't think he's going to be as serious of a scoring threat as Jalen was throughout the whole year just because of Darren Peterson. But getting 12 to 14 a night out of him, 5 to 8 rebounds a night, strong defense, leadership on the court, I think is huge. And I've been very impressed with Trey White. He's been hitting threes as well. Been impressed with him. Melvin Council, man, he is so much like Tyshawn Taylor, not just the athleticism, but I think back to Tyshawn's early years where you could see games where like, man, his speed, his athleticism, his tenacity on defense, but then you also see some of the, I wouldn't say bonehead mistake. Like Tyshawn had a lot of bonehead plays as a freshman, a sophomore. Plays that make you frustrated. Like Melvin Council, he's going to have nights where he goes 3 of 12 from the field and can't hit anything. But all the other things he does make such a big impact. So I think there's going to be games where like, man, I just wish Melvin could get the ball into the rim. He's gonna pass up shots because that's just not what he's not a big shooter. But I've liked what I've seen out of him everywhere else. Bryson Tiller, though, to me has been the most positive. And again, he hasn't been perfect, but he has shown you can definitely see, and Bill's talked about a little bit in post game, but you can definitely see where it's going to be hard for them to find the balance between I want Bryson to get in the paint and use his size and athleticism to be a post scoring threat, and Bryson going, nah, man, I'm athletic enough to play from the outside in, and finding that balance. But he hasn't hit the 3 ball well since the Duke game, but you can see his athleticism has been a huge factor. Defensively, he's been good. Him and Flory have been playing well off of each other, and I think just the floor of Bryson Tiller is getting higher by the day. His ceiling is already through the roof, but the floor of him is just raising so fast because he's showcasing what he can do at basically every level of the game. But yeah, shout out to all those guys. Shout out Jayhawk Edits, one of our favorite follow. One of my favorite follows in the sports world, just because of everything he breaks down. Video is 3 goats. I'm glad that you think we are
You're the
3
fourth.
goats. I appreciate that. We get some more. We get some more followers and some views, and then we'll know that the rest of our followers feel that.
I'm still waiting for the day that I'm recognized in public, as if it's ever going to happen.
Hey, I have a little story. I don't mean to go off topic.
No, go for it.
When I was at the football game Friday, during halftime, I was sitting in my seat, just chilling or whatever, trying to stay warm. Right, I had this guy come up to me, and he was like, "Are you Austin Eckert?" I'm like, "Yeah," and he's like, "Dude, you're like one of my favorite KU people that I follow on Twitter." And I was like, "Oh, like that meant the world to me." And he was like, "Can I get a picture with you?" I was like, "Dude, hell yeah! Like, why not?
Can I get a picture with you
together?" And that was really, really awesome. And it wasn't the first time I've had an interaction like that. But to everybody that's come up to me at KU sporting events or whatever and has said hi to me or whatever, just know that those interactions mean the world to me. So I thank each and every one of you that has come up to me and talked to me about KU sports or whatever. I love it. But anyways, back to basketball.
And I would want to make that picture my wallpaper on my cell phone.
Nice.
I would be so honored. Like, that sounds so, like, that would warm my heart, make my day, make my year, if that ever happened to me. Anywho, sorry. I just had to put that out there.
Okay, I do want to throw this question at you guys about tomorrow night. So it's been basically 3 weeks without Darren Peterson. He's played 2.5 games, if that, barely, if you can even call it that. My question, if he plays tomorrow, I don't think he will have rust necessarily. I think he's too talented to play with rust. But is there any cause for concern or worry that him being plugged back in immediately could disrupt any of the momentum this team has built up playing the way they have? Because I guess where that's coming from for me is I thought KU offensively had guys step up early before we thought they would need to and play an aggressive style basketball that they might not have the opportunities to do with DP on the floor. So how different, again, because we don't have enough data to really say how this team's going to play with him, but is there any thoughts on how this team could look once he's plugged back in, or any of the guys that have to take a step back that have shown the ability to? Like, I'm glad these guys had the opportunity, because we do need to be able to play without him, because even if he gets in foul trouble, we have to play extended time without Darren Peterson. We have to know we're capable of. Like, to me, I have a small concern factor that the play style might change, or the confidence level in certain guys, because they might defer back to Darren. That could still be KU's best brand of basketball, but like, I don't know. My excitement for Darren Peterson has really gone down because of this injury and the fact that we just haven't seen him. And even when he was playing, you're not playing any great competition, so you really don't know what to take away from it. And at the same time, the rest of the guys didn't look that good either. So I don't know. I just feel like I'm in a weird spot with my perspective towards Darren Peterson. Like, I'm sure if he comes out tomorrow night, goes 22, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, hits 4 threes. Yeah, I'm still excited for what he can do playing, but I don't know. I feel like I need to see it. I just need to see it again. I've gone too long without it. I need to see it and know that it works.
To me, the Players Era tournament felt like you're at the casino, you roll all sevens like 3 times in a row, and you're like, oh man, I hit the jackpot, because I'm getting everything I need out of everybody on this team. And having Darren Peterson come back kind of takes the pressure off of guys like El Marco and guys like Jamari McDowell, who have stepped up in
Heck
his
of a
place.
week Jamari McDowell had. Also, does he start tomorrow night?
Well, I don't think he does, but
I think he does. If
really,
DP's playing, I think Cole Rosario comes off the bench.
I mean, well, you know what?
Because Cole hasn't played well.
That.
Now Cole's doing other things. Like, gosh, that one-handed dunk was that week and a half ago off the rebound. Ooh.
I think Cole's the guy that gets hurt the most, because we almost need him to have chances to shine. and not everything's just clicked yet with him, which is really frustrating because I think the hype was there at the beginning of the season, and then he's had some highlight plays. Outside of that, he hasn't been all that great for us, and it's frustrating. But you know what? He's not the only guy who hasn't been there for us. Dawson hasn't been there for us. It's this team and the makeup of it looks a lot different than my piece of paper here where I had my projection on the starting lineup and what that would look like. It just kind of makes me laugh now thinking back to that episode when we were going over rotation, because I think it's looking a lot different now. But I think it was said in the comments, I think it was Bob that put it up there, but I just think he slides right in. Yeah, I think I think he takes the pressure off of us, and I think everyone's going to be so hyped up. His teammates, all the guys, are going to be so hyped up that he's back. It just makes us play even better. I feel really good going into the game, even though I still say it's a must win, because I'm like, man, what's been the best win outside of the Tennessee game that we've had? What's been the best win? I don't even know.
I mean, I'd say all three of those would be the three best wins of the year.
Yeah, but before Players Era tournament, what was our best win?
Texas A&M Corpus Christi. I mean,
my point is we got matched up with North Carolina. We lost. We got matched up with Duke. We lost. We get matched up with UConn. If we lose, the narrative going into March is going to be Kansas can't win the big one.
Sure.
So, in that scenario, it's a must-win.
I mean, here's the thing. The last time we played UConn at home, UConn lost, and then they went on to win the national championship, the first of those back-to-back national championships. So, I mean,
barf.
Like,
are you telling me that Green Bay win wasn't impressive?
The Fighting Doug.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, the three best wins of the season were this last week.
Yeah.
I mean, basically Notre Dame, Syracuse, almost identical games to a degree. Tennessee, I think to me, Tennessee is obviously the most impressive win of the season so far because of the way they won, with Trey White going out with foul trouble and getting the play you got from El Marco, just balling out. 12. Hitting free throw shots, you're down, you come back and you fight, and this team plays together. So the last week was certainly impressive, which bodes well for them moving forward, and because they still have they still have NC State on the schedule. That's another big time game. You've got again the deep Big 12 conference schedule that it is. So this last week bode well. Tomorrow night's a huge test for it. Hopefully tomorrow night is the first game of Darren Peterson back for the rest of the season. I really hope that's not a lingering issue, because the potential of this team is just night and day difference with him than without. But it was nice to see that we are capable. You could see that in teams against a team like North Carolina, Duke, or those types of teams that have a true stud offensively, that how KU could struggle to win those games, but you saw the fight and you saw the potential and you saw guys step up. And that's what I wanted to see, is who is capable of playing at a higher level and how consistently can they get there. There's still issues. I mean, I think Jane Dawson, frustrations, the injury hasn't certainly helped him at all, but you would like to see him get in a rhythm and start shooting and scoring. But now Jamari McDowell's kind of taken some of those minutes for sure. Paul Imbia, we really haven't seen much and hasn't looked great in his minutes, but you're going to need him at times this year because Flory's going to be in foul trouble. Tiller's going to get in foul trouble at some point, and Bill likes to play the two of them side by side, so you still need someone to back them up. But I feel pretty good with where things are right now.
We just need a really good performance tomorrow night because you know who we play this weekend. We play the school out east, and we play them in T-Mobile Center this time. So, I know people are kind of like half and half on KU playing at T-Mobile Center. There's some good moments, and then there's also been some really bad moments in recent years. So hopefully we can get revenge for the border war game this weekend, but I know we'll get into that Wednesday. But we really
10-3 at worst at non-con. I'd take that.
Yeah, me too.
You guys, I had Jamar McDowell 11th going into 11th in our rotation going into the season.
He was one that you could certainly make the case that he could start the season right away just based on experience and time here. but also the guy that you were like, what's his role? Well, I don't know what his role is necessarily yet with Darren Peterson back, but he certainly took advantage of his opportunities last week and played some big minutes, hit some big time threes. Derek's in here still trying to be a little, hey, cautious, slow down, don't get too excited yet. Great to see it happen, but need to see it consistently for sure. But again, it's the fact that you've had over the last 2 weeks, you've had different guys step up. You've had Melvin Council take over a game at one point. You've had Bryson Tiller look dominant. You've had Trey White look really good. You've had Flory look really, really good at times. And of course, you get Marco this last weekend in Jamari, looking good. So it's great to see. Really hope Darren Peterson's back tomorrow and that he's just firing on all cylinders, because if he is, this team's got the making of a 2 seed, 1 seed potential. College basketball's deep this year, for sure. Deep this year. Oh shoot, I didn't even forget. G and Gala had a moment 2 weeks ago. Hit a couple threes. I don't think he's going to play much tomorrow. He's too small for UConn. Shout out Diggy Coito, talking about another small guard. Was it 41 points the week and a half ago, whatever that was? All the Seahawks that transferred away are off to a heck of a start to their season.
Zach Clements, Rylan Griffin for the Texas A&M Aggies. You might as well just call them the Texas A&M Jayhawks.
AJ Store's looking real good in Ole Miss too.
Of course, he's doing well.
We don't need him.
He wasn't going to fit.
No, we don't.
Tyon Grant Foster, 12th year of eligibility, also looking good for Gonzaga.
I watched
Texas shoes.
I watched AJ Store freaking run to the locker room directly after the Arizona game last year, which is our senior day game. And I've talked about this on here. He literally ran into the locker room directly after the game. You guys know that all the players are supposed to stay out for the senior day speeches and everything. And I just saw the coaching staff like, AJ, get back in here. AJ, get out here. And it took him like 5 minutes for him to come back out of the locker room. I was just like, yeah, he's gone. So.
Maybe he had to take a poop.
I doubt it.
Sometimes you gotta. But anyway, other basketball thoughts.
I was gonna talk about Jamari McDowell's role real quick.
I'm
not quite sure what kind of role he has this year, but he'll be a player that will definitely need to step up, especially if we get into foul trouble in some of these games later on in the season. Obviously you're going to need guys to lean on when you are in those situations, because there are going to be games coming up pretty soon where we're going to have our star players in foul trouble, and we're not going to have good officiating every single game, right? So, I think if Jamari can be one of those guys that can come in and help out KU when they don't have everybody out there. I mean, I can tell that he's learned a lot from his redshirt season last year.
Well, and I can totally see
much better player.
I can see a 5-man lineup that Jamari's in when Bill Self's like, hey, we need to really crank it down defensively. And I can totally see Jamari, Melvin Council, DP, Trey White, and Flory, or Bryson Tiller. Flip-flop Flory, Bryson Tiller, same thing basically. Probably Flory gets the edge. But we need to go a 6-minute stretch of just defense. And Jamari plays with energy. He plays with passion. He's vocal. He seems like one of those guys that as the adrenaline gets going, he gets more involved and a lot of fun to watch. So, yeah, feel good with that, because you're going to need these guys to start defining some of their roles as we get into conference play. As we say every year, we know Bill's going to shrink the roster minutes just a little bit, the rotation minutes, to 7-8 guys, and we need to see what everyone's capable of. But I will say, as much as I haven't liked having Darren Peterson out, I think it was very good for this team and very good for Bill Self, because it's kind of forced him to basically not change his approach entirely in how he coaches, but try things, try different lineups. We saw how many times now have we seen Trey White, Flory, and Tiller, and we didn't think we'd see all three of them at the same time just because of spacing. And it's looked pretty good. It's been one of their best lineups when those three are on the floor together. So I do like that he's tried things. He's put some guys out there in spots that he probably wouldn't normally do, and he's done it more frequently than what we're used to. But hopefully all that changes tomorrow night. Hopefully when we're talking again Wednesday night that it's after a Darren Peterson comeback game and we have a full 40 minutes of what this team could look like with him firing on all cylinders as we kind of head into the rest of non-con before we get into Big 12 play. But that's all I have for tonight. I'm going to semi-tease something I want to bring into Wednesday night. Hopefully all four of us with Spencer can be on. If not, that's okay. But would like to do a little draft of sorts on the podcast.
I thought he was going to say trivia.
Oh no! Well, we can do trivia too.
No,
but
we don't. No.
Doing a little bit of a draft. Well, if we do trivia, I gotta get Derek on for sure. Trivia, or sorry, not trivia. Geez, doing a draft of Bill Self players. So basically, we're gonna randomly assign a draft order, and we're gonna go through draft our 1 through 5 in a 6-man, and just kind of compare teams. I think and then I want to do some versions of these throughout basketball season, different drafts and lineups that we can all, go through and pick and do some of that. So we'll do that Wednesday night. Make sure you guys come back as always. Of course, if anything changes on that, I'll let you know. I do have a dinner I am going to, and I don't know when I will get back, but hopefully back in time. My brother is finishing up training in the police academy and has a celebration graduation that night. So hopefully I'm back in time. I totally forgot that was going to potentially overlap with this, but looking forward to that. Looking forward to KU basketball tomorrow night. My prediction, we haven't done it, but let's go score predictions. This is kind of me blindly off the fly. I'm going to say KU wins 78-74.
I was definitely going to say 78. That's why I made a face.
Nice. I do think they will look better with Darren Peterson, but I also think they will have a couple stretches tomorrow where not the chemistry being off, but because they're going up against a good team like UConn, that they'll disrupt enough of the offensive flow and KU will go a stretch without hitting shots.
I will go.
Oh, wow. I'm sorry. I was right wrong. UConn's the 1.5 point favorite. This has flipped around a bit. I think if Darren Peterson is announced tomorrow he's playing, it's a flip-flop, which is weird to say because UConn's top 5.
You said 78, so now I'll say 76-73 Kansas. Let's go.
They're averaging 82 points a game.
We can hold them down.
I think defensively we are certainly capable. I mean, they lost to Arizona 71-67. Arizona, another good team. They scored 86 on BYU. That was a barn burner, 86-84. Illinois, 74. So some of these better defensive-minded teams have slowed them down just enough. And I think KU certainly can do that, especially at home. But UConn really hasn't had this will be KU or UConn's first true road game. Like true road game. This is the only game on their schedule that is actually considered a road game. I know they were also in the tournament, but this is true road game, hostile style environment on a Tuesday night in December with snow on the ground.
Let's do it.
I guess I haven't done my score prediction yet. I've already got it in my mind. I was going to change it, but no, I'm going to go Kansas 83-78.
I like it.
Be one of those games. I think it's going to come down to free throws once we get to the end of it. I think it'll be a close game throughout the entirety of it until like maybe the final, minute and a half.
I dig it. Again, I don't think Alex Caravan's going to go off. I think Trey White's going to slow him down and make things difficult. And Bryson Tiller. Bryson Tiller's got some size on him down low. I think also offensively back him down the post, force him to play good defense on a guy bigger than him. So feel good about it.
Sweet.
I don't know why we got an Eagles comment in here.
Is Trey White the best transfer player that Bill Self's picked up since Kevin McCullough? I didn't say Hunter because I know there's scrutiny with Hunter, but
I feel like Hunter you just have to put in his own category.
Sure.
because you have to take
Category.
team success out of it.
Right.
Individual talent, Hunter's probably the most talented transfer. But as
Sure.
far as positive impact on the program,
Yeah.
Kevin McCullough certainly people say Remy.
I'm talking about before, like
Yeah.
after Remy.
I'm hit and miss on how I feel about, like, if you take Remy outside of the national championship game,
We
in the
don't win it.
Final Four, we don't win it. But the larger impact, like Kevin McCullough's impact was felt that entire senior season, him not being healthy.
Yeah.
And I think if Kevin McCullough is here 1 year sooner, KU wins another national championship. That's just another thought of mine. But with Jalon Wilson.
Yeah, Trey White's looking really good, and hopefully,
for sure,
look good.
For sure. But okay, we'll wrap up there. Again, we'll be back at it Wednesday night for some post UConn matchup talk. Hopefully, again, talking about Darren Peterson. We'll do our little Bill Self draft of players and compare our notes on our teams there, and then kind of look ahead to the rest of non-con play and see how this team's starting to shape up. But appreciate you guys as always. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't done so yet. If you're still here an hour and 15 and you haven't hit subscribe, or you're new to the channel, go ahead and do that. We would greatly appreciate that. We hope to see you back every single week. Wednesday night is the plan every single week for a live episode with all of you Jayhawk fans, and you can continue to support us, catch us on some of our other stuff. More Royals offseason talk on the way. Big moves they need to make for that offense. But we'll get on all of that, talk some more KU football over the next couple of weeks with where do we go from here. But that'll wrap it up on this one. We will catch you guys in the next episode. Rock Chalk.
Rock Chalk.